All right, everybody, I'd like to welcome y'all to the NOAA Fitness call. We've got a handful of panelists here today, some people that are professionals in the sports and fitness arena. We've got other people that are PWAs like myself that just participate in an active lifestyle and fitness. So let's take a moment and introduce our panelists. I'll start with myself. My name's Nick Smith. My normal day job, I'm a school psychologist, but in my not day job, I'm a ACA instructor for kayaking. I'm a cycling instructor, and I do a little bit of cross country skiing as well. So I've dabbled in a lot of different outdoor type activities. Um, let's just start across the top of my list here that we have. Jackie, you want to introduce yourself and kind of tell who you are and what you do and whatnot?
Sure. So, my name's Jackie, and I am a mixed fit instructor. And mixed fit is like a dance fitness, like Zumba. But Zumba is more well known, but mixed fit is, I think, a little bit more intense and use more body weight movements. So yeah, and then I do some like just weightlifting and I try to just stay active and I prefer the indoors.
Air
Yeah.
conditioning is awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jackie, you did a class at the past NoahCon, right?
I did. I had four people come as my first, you know, hosting something at Noah and we had a great time. It was fun. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah, hopefully I can do it again.
Cool. Maria, you're next on my list. You're no stranger at NoahCon either. You were very busy.
Hi, I'm Maria. I am a professor of health and physical education, specifically focusing on adaptive physical education. And I run camp abilities programs, which are sports camps for kids with visual impairments around the country. And I've also been to Noah Camp running sports at Noah Camp.
So thanks for coming. All right, Becca.
I'm Becca Evans. I'm an occupational therapist during the day. Um, I work in a hospital and I see pediatric outpatient and adult neuro outpatients like strokes and Parkinson's. And we run a Parkinson's program that focuses on big movements, so kind of ties into exercise. And then I am a runner. I used to do marathons and I did an ultra marathon just once. Um, I'm now paying the price with bad knees, so I've had to really cut back, but I still get to run. Do the St. Jude run every year, which is really important to my family since my nephew's a St. Jude kid. Got Chris hooked on St. Jude. I do dog training and have one of the top nose work dogs in the country. So we've traveled all over the Midwest and even as far as Virginia. I live in Illinois for that. And growing up, I played several sports. And then I like to travel and hike and going to Australia and just picked all of my excursions. So excited we're going to go boating, snorkeling, all the things. So
So, all right, Chris, you're up.
Hi, I'm Chris. Live in Dallas, and by day I am a music theory professor. And in my free time these days, now I run. In my youth, I was a long distance cyclist until I had to pull two kids in a trailer for 100 miles, and I changed my mind on that one. Um, and then kind of didn't have time, honestly, and came back to running about 4 years ago. So
All right, Kyle, send us home.
Sounds good. I'm Kyle Burgum. During the day, I'm a director of partnerships at a company called Calix, and we provide hardware and software solutions that enable the internet. Um, I'm a I'm on a journey for very much improved health. I've lost 110 pounds, gained 40 of
no.
it back when I got COVID, so I'm back down to minus 90 pounds. I've run 11 marathons in the past year, and I'm starting to transition over to triathlons.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm exhausted just hearing it. Has nothing to do with being up since 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, guys. So I've got a list of questions here that I've shared with the panel. I'm going to kind of run through a few of these in no particular order. But anybody that's on the call, if you have questions or want to interact with the panel, feel free to unmute yourself, drop it in the comments. I'll keep an eye on it. This is a pretty free flowing kind of conversation here of just people that are active and engaged and want to share information about how we do the things that we do here. So let's just kind of get it off to the start here, and I'll just open this up to the whole panel here. How'd you guys get started in your various fitness or active lifestyle things? How'd you kind of what was your baby step into it? Because I know I didn't start off being a kayak instructor.
Well, I can start. I mean, like I said, I was a cyclist for a long, long time, and then adult life took over. And so when I came back to really being concerned about fitness, it's actually Becca's fault. Because I was with her when her nephew was diagnosed with cancer, and then COVID happened. And so I started running again during COVID and ended up also running for St. Jude. So it had nothing really to do with, oh, I'm a macho physical fitness person, but I needed motivation to do it. And it was the right motivation. And it was an awesome decision.
Yay, we appreciate it.
Awesome.
I guess I can go after Chris. So I just played a bunch of sports growing up. I know it drove my mom nuts because she was always kind of nervous, but um, then I never stopped running. I ran just for a D3 school, but I did cross country. And then in grad school, I started doing half marathons with a good friend. And then when I finished grad school, I transitioned to fulls. I think I did 5 or 6. Um, then I trashed my knees, so I've had to slow down, but I've just missed it and have hopped back in. So I guess I never really started. I just always have been a runner. And take the dog and we go running through the woods and have a great time. So it just helps me clear my head, which is why I keep doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I started for health reasons and wanting to grow old more gracefully with avoiding diabetes and heart disease and those types of things. My career is pretty sedentary. We sit in chairs most of the time in IT and bought into that, which was really sad. So I've returned to sports quite late in life, but am enjoying it and I'm happy I'm doing it. And for all the benefits I've heard before, like I'm much healthier. I'm off most of my prescription meds. There's one or two left to go. And I find more the activity and the weight loss has really helped my health and feeling better about myself and my work and just love doing it.
Yeah, I think I said in something to somebody, my goal was to, be 62, but not feel 62.
Right.
So
That's
that's where I am.
that is an excellent goal. Jackie and Maria, how'd you guys kind of get started in your respective paths?
Mine was actually kind of the opposite. My career kind of fed my athleticism. So I was always a pretty active kid. My mom was also a health and PE professor. She started the camp abilities programs for kids who are blind that I now run and work in. And so I grew up at camp for kids with visual impairments, despite not being visually impaired myself. Um, and when I got to college, I thought I was going to be a math teacher. So that's what I was studying. And then I realized what I actually wanted to do was orientation and mobility. And you just needed any undergraduate degree because you have to get a master's degree. And I was like, why am I doing math when I could be doing PE? So I switched my major to adapted physical education. And through that, I was like, well, I don't want to be behind my peers. Like, I need to train for class because all of our classes were super physically active. And so I started running. I'd always swam a little bit, but I got more serious about it. And then as an O&M instructor, I mean, one of my mentors that I interned with was a person with a visual impairment. And he always used to say, we're blind, we walk. So a regular day for me when I interned with him was walking 10, 11, 12 miles a day because
Oh, wow.
that's what his life was. Like we didn't drive kids to lesson areas. We walked and we took the bus because that's what we had to do. And so I think that like after those experiences, like that made me really get into shape myself and realize the importance of physical activity for my students, which then kind of after being in O&M for a while kind of drove my interest in getting back into health and PE because I saw that my students were really being excluded. And despite really needing to be people who were able to walk to a bus stop, to the grocery store, etc., like weren't getting that kind of instruction. So now I teach people how to teach kids with disabilities how to be physically active. And I think that I personally saw the benefit for me, not just of the physical health and exercise, but like the mental health benefits and the like self-determination and self-confidence benefits of like setting a goal like I'm going to run 5 miles today, I'm going to run 10 miles today, I'm going to run a marathon. And that's such a physical challenge that feels good to be able to set a goal and then achieve it, that I think that that has been a guidepost for my life of like I need to set a goal for myself, I need to accomplish something, and the way that I feel that that really makes me proud of myself is through physical activity. So I kind of my career kind of drove my interest in physical activity because of that. And now that's what I do. I try to teach other people that that's a fun way to be and a fun way to live, and achieving health goals and physical activity goals for yourself is fun. So in addition to my own fitness, I also have a friend. One of my best friends is blind, and we do races together. So I guide run. We've done the Dublin Marathon. Um, we did our own marathon in COVID because we were supposed to do New York City, but it got canceled. And we've done a couple triathlons together. So um, I think the like community and friendship and like self confidence I've gotten through physical activity continues to drive me to be physically active.
So weird side story about Maria that I did not know Maria at all before the conference, but in my former career as a adaptive sports program coordinator, Camp Abilities was like one of the best known programs in the country. So when I found out Maria was part of that, I was like, holy crap, that's cool. It was like kind of a rock star in the field kind of thing. And then ironically at the past NOAACon, one of the sessions I attended that you were doing, you were talking about buddy runners, guide runners. And then
Yeah.
no crap, 2 weeks into getting back to work as a school psych, we have a kid that we have to find a buddy runner for that's doing cross country. So I was like, hey, I actually am kind of up to speed on this. So that was really weird coincidence stuff that was really cool. Um, Jackie, anything you want to share?
Um, I I started like weightlifting like in high school. I took it as an elective and I was the only girl. So that was fun. And I just like got into the to weightlifting because I was the only girl and I wanted to like get up on the wall. So I was like trying to bench like certain weight to get on the wall because I wouldn't be the only girl on the wall. And then dance. I just like to dance. I don't know. I'm not super good at it. I didn't dance like I didn't take dance classes or um like ballet or anything. I just like to dance and I it's kind of an escape and I just forget about everything else. And usually when anyone's dancing, like the music is loud enough to like just kind of drowns all your thoughts. And yeah, so I started with Zumba and now I'm into mixed fit because that's what my gym offers. And then I got really into it. So now I'm certified to teach it. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. For me, I started fitness, well, athletics, honestly, in high school. And I remember, so my family growing up was a big football family, and it was just assumed I would play football, even though I had never played football in my life and knew nothing about playing football. So I had to figure out how to play football in high school, ended up destroying my ankle playing football. Picked up swimming, was a pretty good competitive swimmer at our high school level, and then transitioning into to undergrad and graduate work. The fields that I was in were pretty high stress, so I was finding that exercise and fitness was a good way to kind of deal with that stress level, and sort of a coping mechanism. And then I got a lot more into outdoor hiking and surfing and kayaking and things like that. And those were just ways to kind of recharge the batteries after a crap day at work. So that's kind of how I got into it. Um, All right, let's open up another one. That was a fantastic one. So we've got quite a few PWAs, people with or persons with albinism on the call here, and we've got some people that don't have albinism but work with other people with visual impairment. So kind of what kinds of things do you guys have to consider for yourself or for others when you're engaging in these activities? Like what are the things that either that you look for, or barriers that you might encounter, or things you need to consider uh, when you participate in some of these activities? I'm gonna pick Kyle first.
You're going to pick me. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I, I'm I I'm just figuring it out with cycling. So with running, I actually wear a sign that says blind runner just in case. And I carry my white cane and there are times during a race where I'm just not totally sure about what's what up ahead. So I'll actually deploy that thing and run with it. So I'm pretty visible on the running side. On the cycling side, I've only done one Grand Fondo this year, and it was tough. It was scary, and I didn't like riding with all the other riders, and I was resistant to put blind cyclist on my jersey. So I haven't figured that one out yet, but definitely will. And just to make it work, but I I'm always safety first, always. So I do the lights thing on the bike, and if I'm not sure, I'll slow down or I'll stop and then figure it out, or even get off and walk it to figure it out. But for the most part, it's I'm pretty confident in my abilities, and it's always about safety for me and others first. That's kind of my motto.
Awesome. Anyone else want to pick up anything that they consider for their sports or
You know,
I
as
guess,
a, oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was just going to say, as a runner, I don't think, and I wonder if this is what Chris, because we're good friends, if this is what she was going to say. I don't really think I do much different. I usually have, I mean, I have sunglasses or a hat. So that's it. That's pretty much it. When I was growing up and I did cross country, we weren't allowed to wear sunglasses. It was against the state IHSA, like state regulations that governed school sports. So one time I was all squinty and missed one of the little flags that you were is the green flag, and I missed it. So got a little off course. And so after that, I just got a doctor's note that said I'm allowed to wear sunglasses. It was never a big deal. I just would tell the starting official, like, hey, I have this note. They never needed to really see it because it's, you know, um, and I don't even know if that's still the rule. So I don't really think I do anything different. And then as far as like the hiking and stuff, I just, if I need to slow down a little bit so that I can really see, I mean, that's it. But um, hiked all over. I've been to Africa, rafted down the Nile. Um, so I don't feel like I do a lot different. Maybe the biggest thing is when I do the dog training. So real quick, nose work is training your pet dogs to be like bomb dogs, but instead of searching bombs, they search for Q-tips that have a target essential oil they're trained on. And so I found out my dog, I wasn't able to see what she was doing. So we just trained her using a lot of meatballs to put her paw wherever she thought the hide was. And it's made us such a solid team. We get tons of compliments, but that was probably the only accommodation I had, or not even accommodation, but thing I did differently that, my people I train with didn't have to do for their dogs. So
gotcha. All right. Maria, you shared a ton of this at the conference. So anything you'd like to share for people with albinism or visual impairments that you think might be helpful for them in participating in a wide variety of different sports or things?
I think that a lot of the general public does not know that people with albinism have visual impairments.
Mhm.
And so, when walking into a fitness or recreation setting around other people, as much as you're comfortable with sharing that information. So, like if you're walking into a gym setting, asking trainers there, asking staff at a fitness center, like, can you orient me to this environment? Can you show me where all the equipment is? Or carrying a cane with you into that new setting, even if that's not something you do on a regular basis, can help like eliminate the awkwardness of like trying to figure out what that space is like for the first time. And even if you're doing a race, like a lot of 5Ks will post the course online ahead of time and you can do your own course preview, especially if it's a trail race and that lighting is going to be weird because once you go into the woods, the lighting gets super strange with the tree leaves and all that stuff. So doing your own course preview to accommodate yourself can help you not miss turnoffs and that sort of thing. But I think that like going into those new settings and new fitness settings, I know that it's like uncomfortable for a lot of people to go into new fitness settings. So if you ask for support that first time, you might be able to then accommodate yourself in the future without having to ask for that support. I think another really important thing is um, I know a lot of my friends with visual impairments as adults feel like they're not visually impaired enough to have a guide or not visually impaired enough to want that kind of support. But um, there's a lot of support, especially for runners. Programs like Achilles International will pair you with a guide. And even if you don't always run with a guide, if you want to try new runs or trail runs or run your fastest time ever in a race or get connected with someone who's a tandem biker so that you can bike as fast as possible, like there's no one checking how much vision you have, and those programs are for everybody. So I know that a lot of people might feel like, oh, I'm not blind enough to need this. And just because you don't need it doesn't mean that it can't be a good support for you in order to be the best you can be at your sport. So I think that that's, I know, also kind of my considerations of like reminding people that you can ask for support and it doesn't mean that you're not good at something. It just means that you want to try something new and see how it works for you.
Awesome. Anyone else have any thing to add? I've got a comment from Silpa to share with everybody. She had a good one
I
before I
think
get
Chris was
there.
going to say something and then I kind of interrupted her.
Oh, I was actually going to say that I don't think that on anything I've ever done, like I competitively swam in high school and stuff, I don't think I've ever asked for or done anything specifically because of my vision. But now I don't actually like to run long courses outside by myself, which has nothing to do with my vision. It has to do with being 62 and on the trail by myself. Um, so, but I do. I'll run up to a 5K by myself most of the time, but longer runs, and I don't have a good running buddy down here, so the treadmill and I are good friends there. But you know, is what it is.
Gotcha. Before I jump into Silpa's question, because I think it's something that's relevant to every PWA that goes outside. For me, a lot of my stuff, I wore really dark tinted contacts playing football, so that helped a lot. It also terrified people when they saw basically black irises. I have a funny story. Asked me at a hotel bar one time about the Catholic school and the black eyes. It's funny.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
but picking up kayaking, sun protective clothing is really important to me being out on the water. So wearing those UPF clothing has been a game changer for me because I hate sunscreen. And so anything I can do to not have to wear it, I will sweat my butt off if I don't have to wear sunscreen. So sun protective sunscreen, good hat, good sunglasses are really important to me. And then for anybody that doesn't know, my wife also has visual or has albinism as well. And so when we go hiking, using trekking poles has been like her off-road cane. And so that has been a game changer for her ability to access some of the outdoor hiking trails and things that we do. All right, so Silpa hit us with the pretty much quintessential outdoor PWA question. What do y'all use for sunscreen? What works best? What's good for sensitive skin? Trying to keep it out of your eyes. And what do you guys use for sunglasses?
Oh, I'll take the sunglass question.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
um, a lot of runners and I discovered them through running. I wear Goodr, it's Goodr sunglasses, and they come in lots of different colored um, tints and lots of cool, fun frames, and they're cheap and they stay on your face when you sweat, and they're awesome. So that's my sunglass question.
Anyone else have pearls of wisdom for sunscreen, sunglasses type things they wear?
I wear a hat or like the headbands, that girls wear because it keeps like if I am good and put sunscreen on, which I would only do for my really long runs because I'm not a good example, It would drip in my eyes and that stings obviously.
Yeah.
So not to be gross, but I found the hat or like a running hat that's kind of got that wicking material or like one of those running headbands um fixed that problem. So I didn't have that. And um one of the marathons I did, it was actually in Cincinnati, Ohio. They had sunscreen stations, which was kind of cool. They would like spray you down right before, after, I can't remember the like
Oh,
aid
well.
stations. So
That's
that was
cool.
nice because it was like 85, it was hot. But usually I don't wear it for running because I just sweat it out. And then like Nick, when I'm buying some like of the UPF shirts for Australia, and
Yeah.
that's what I wore for Africa, just easier. So
That's what I do is I pick up some of those UPF shirts from Bass Pro Shops. They've got some really nice long sleeve fishing ones with a hoodie type thing, and that works really well. And I always have to wear a hat. I'm just so light sensitive that the brim is kind of mandatory for me.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, getting back to sunscreen, we're big believers in Neutrogena in our house. The active sheer one seems to work pretty well for us, and we can find it anywhere we travel. So if we forget it, God knows how many extra bottles of sunscreen we've brought home because we forgot one and had to buy a whole nother bottle for a weekend. Uh, but honestly, whatever you get, just put it on multiple times, and that's coming from a guy that sucks at putting it on. And then I'm really picky about sunglasses as well. So I got into Oakley gas cans. So Oakley's the brand, gas can is the model. I love them because they're really snug fitting wraparound sunglasses. And they block out a ton of light on the sides. They're good looking sunglasses. You pay for them. They're also ANSI certified for impact. So I have tested that before. So
Oh, no.
they're really good at what you do. Until recently, I've had no problem getting my prescription in them, but this year they're like, nope, they're too thick. So I had to go find a slightly less curved frame this year, and so far it's been working well. It's a brand I haven't heard of before, but I'm liking it so far. But I find that the wraparound sunglasses, whatever you use, is really important because that light bleed on the side can be killers out there.
Yeah.
And then as much on water sports as I do, I really should wear headbands, and I have lucked out not losing a pair yet. But not gonna lie, when I do rescue training, I have somebody hold on to my sunglasses because I will cry if those drop into the lake. Anyone else have any inputs? Anyone know of anything like the Achilles program, but for hiking? Silpa, you're just giving us gold today. I love it.
So I don't know anything specifically about like anything like Achilles, but for hiking. The one piece of equipment that I did think of, Nick, when you said something about hiking poles, is there's a cane called the all-terrain cane, which is a combination cane and hiking pole. So if you're someone who needs cane in like outdoor new environments, that is something that could be helpful. Um, and it's weight bearing, so you can go from probing the environment to using it as a uh, hiking pole. And the guy who created it is also working on creating a hiking program for people with visual impairments, where he takes people for guided hikes throughout Arizona. So, a Werewolf Gear is the company that does that, and they're working on something, but it would be like destination hikes, like you'd go to Arizona and hike the Grand Canyon, hike Sedona, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
I would do that.
I did the Narrows in Zion right before the conference, and I brought checking poles because I knew I wouldn't be able to see the underwater rocks. And I felt like a very smart person walking that trail, watching everybody else stumble and fall, and me be able to plant trekking poles that I was using to kind of feel my way through there. So, yeah. Silpa, there was a local group that did hikes, but they were very local to where I'm at. So unless you're within 30 minutes of central Ohio or willing to be there for a hike, I don't think they'd help you out a ton. And I think they did like one or two buddy hikes. But REI is a great spot. Like if you check out buddy running or sorry, their event boards at any of your local REI stores, REI as a national organization is a huge supporter of adaptive sports programs. And they generally will schedule a couple events a couple times a month and they are fantastic people and know lots of different nonprofit organizations in the area that may be able to pair you up. So maybe there's not an organization specifically for doing hiking, but there's nonprofit organizations that do adaptive sports, and some of their volunteers would be down to do some hiking. Awesome. That was a good one. All right. I see a couple questions coming in here. I'm going to fire one at the group so I can get back into the chat and read it. But let's see. What benefits do you guys get from participating in your sports? And we kind of touched on this with the first question, but maybe kind of get into it for yourselves. What keeps you going? What are you getting out of your participation?
I'll go. So, I get dopamine. Um, I most, I mean, I know I mentioned weightlifting, but like I'm kind of more here for my dance fitness, and like just it's just a good dopamine rush. Like I forget all my worries, and just have a little escape, and that's why I keep doing it.
Jackie, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is mixed fit like a series of moves you have to learn? And if so, did you have to do any accommodations to learn those moves, or did you just kind of learn as you went in class? How did you
There,
learn things?
yeah, there are seven like main moves, and they're just all mixed up into songs, and we can make our own choreography too, so which I've done. And um it's pretty like it's not as structured as maybe like Zumba would be. So yeah, there's seven moves, and the movements are large enough that I could see well, if I'm at the front row, I always am in the front row, and the moves are large and like big enough, that I can see what the instructor is doing. Um, I didn't mention to backtrack on, like I can't see when they do they'll say like two more, and I can't see her fingers because I don't dance with my glasses on because I just feel more comfortable with not wearing anything. So but my movements, I haven't had to adapt anything. I just go for it. And I can't really see if I'm teaching. So if I'm a student in the class, I just go in the front row. And then if I'm teaching, I can't really see the students' faces. So I hope everyone's having a good time. And I don't think the regulars that come to the class, I don't know if they know if I'm visually impaired. Like my instructor knows, but I don't know if the regulars know. I don't know. So, but I'm always in the front row, and I to go back to the original question is I keep doing it for all the good endorphins.
Dopamine's a good chemical to have floating around in that brain.
No
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I have to say too that I do it I mean, it's probably as much for mental health as it is
Yeah.
for physical health. Um, and one of the things that's kind of interesting, everybody always talks about getting up early and going out for a run. Well, my day doesn't really work that way. And so when I run on the treadmill, I tend to run at the end of the day after everything is done. And it's just an amazing feeling to know that the day's over and I have, 6 miles worth of time to myself to just process everything or listening to music or whatever. um, and I think sometimes that it's just knowing that I have that coming at the end of the day makes me look forward to it. So,
Awesome. Silpa Liam is posting some links in the chat right now. There's a group called, what was it, United in Strides, that kind of pairs you up with some running people. And then he's got some links in there for some sunglasses and things like that. So, Liam, thanks for dropping some of that stuff in the comments. All right. Um, we are getting through time a lot faster than I anticipated, which is great. We're having some fantastic conversation here. All right. This question, and the panelists saw this on the list that I gave them, but this came out of a situation that I had. So I kind of wanted to know everybody else's situation. But what's the scariest situation you've gotten into related to your fitness or your activity before? What kind of sticky situations have you gotten yourself into? And I guess how'd you get out of it?
I have one. I was guide running. So when I guide run, my friend and I are attached at the hip. We use what's called a waist tether. So instead of holding it in your hand, you each wear a belt and it attaches you at the waist. So it allows for a lot more freedom of movement with your arms, especially when running over long distance. And um, it's easier transition when we do triathlons because we both wear our respective pieces of the waist tether when we're biking, and then we just hook together when we start the run. So anyway, we're in the desert in Arizona and we're running together, literally attached to each other. And she had just told me, like, I want to start learning how to trail run. And I was like, great, like I see a trail over there. Do you want to just like try it a little bit? It's good gravel. It seems like it'll be fine. And all of a sudden, while we're running down this beautiful trail through the desert is quiet and warm and beautiful. We hear a dog. And I'm like, I think we should turn around and just like start jogging back. Um, and then all of a sudden, we hear more dogs. And I look over my shoulder, and there's a pack of about 20 wild dogs chasing us down the road. And again, we are attached to each other. And she was like, I think I'm just going to lie down and die. And I'm like, that's simply not an option because we are attached to each other. And there is no way to not be attached to each other. So we are just going to have to run as fast as possible. And I'm like trying to describe what's happening, but like I'm also running literally for my life as fast as I possibly could. Later on, we looked at her heart rate monitor. Her heart rate hit like 250 beats per minute,
Oh,
which is like
wow.
over what
Gosh.
you're supposed to
Wow.
be able to hit. Um, we eventually hit a highway. We ran maybe a quarter of a mile. Thank God we were running downhill. We hit a highway and we ran over the highway and like a big 18 wheeler passed and the dog stopped and turned around and we were just like, what just happened? What just happened? I think a lot of the most ridiculous moments have been when Devin and I have been attached together because we tend to put ourselves in situations that are more ridiculous because it feels safer to be running with a partner. Like it's like emotionally safer to be running with a buddy, and it just like feels like you're going to be okay no matter what you do. So we tend to put ourselves into the most ridiculous situations. But that was probably the scariest and most
Wow.
dangerous.
Literally had the dogs let out on you.
We literally, but I think one of the reasons that got it, like one of the things that got us out of it is she was like not motivated to keep running. It was like the fight, flight, or freeze just froze, but like we're attached, so we have to keep running. And my, like, I need to make sure we get out of this situation and I need to like use my eyeballs to get us out of this situation made me run faster too. So I think the fact that we were together also kind of saved us because we were both more motivated to continue to get out of the situation. Not that we wouldn't have been motivated individually, but like it just pushed us both to like really get out of that situation.
That's a pretty
Anyway,
good sticky situation.
the desert in Arizona, man. Don't run through the desert in Arizona.
Does anyone else have any interesting sticky situations they got themselves into and clearly you made it out because you're here?
I can tell you a funny story that's not even really. My ex-husband and I had gone skiing, and neither one of us were really skiers. We were skiing the green slopes, and I actually did better in all the classes and everything that he did. So I was skiing faster than he was. So we're on this trail and there was a split in the trail. Well, I couldn't see the signs to what was green, what was blue,
Uh-oh.
what was black.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah,
Oh,
I led us down a black trail. It was
oh my
awesome.
Lots
But
of
you know,
side
it was
slipping.
awesome.
it was awesome. Yeah, we didn't get divorced until 20 years later. So
Oh my goodness.
but yeah, that I came out of it fine. He was not real thrilled with it, but anyway. Uh,
Yeah.
When I was in Africa, we were rafting the Nile, and it's like an 8 hour day, and I had to pee. And
Oh,
the
no.
guide said, just, well, we're in a flat spot. We're not up to the next rapid. This is where you go. Well, I didn't realize, and now I feel dumb saying this. I guess I wasn't thinking or didn't realize that there's crocodiles.
Yeah.
And so I hop off the raft and start peeing in the Nile when everyone's like, no. And there are crocodiles closer than I would have liked to be to them. So, and I don't know if you guys have ever had to climb back into a whitewater raft. It's not the most graceful, and I don't have the best upper body strength. So, like the two guides from Uganda were like heaving me back in, so that I wasn't crocodile food. So
Oh my gosh.
I have it on video, Chris. I'll show you.
All right. Holding out on me.
I was.
Oh my goodness. That's some good ones. So on our trip out to NoAcon this summer, we did a bunch of hiking out in some of the national parks in Utah. And my wife, both of us have very similar visual acuity, so we see kind of the same letters on the charts, but our functional vision is very different. And so her depth perception is much more impacted than mine. And we had a pretty long hike at Capitol Reef. We at the furthest spot, we were probably about 5 miles into backcountry. Um, and she just decided she'd had enough. And we did, I think, 1,500 feet of vertical ascending. And
Oh my gosh.
she was exhausted, had visual fatigue, didn't know how she was going to get back down the trail because now the sun had shifted and she no longer had the benefits of the shadows to be able to see some of the steps and the paths down. I just remember standing on basically in the middle of nowhere in Capitol Reef going, I have to get her out of here. There is no cell service. There is no one else up here. There is no option but to get down this hill. So we literally, like one step at a time, hiked back 5 miles, and boy, did it take a long time. But
Wow.
that was a good one. I thought that was going to be a pretty good one, but running from dogs and peeing with alligators,
Crocodiles.
Yeah, peeing with the crocodiles, I think.
those are pretty good ones right there. Awesome. Anyone else have any stories?
Mine doesn't compare. I put down, I had to dance in front of 15 people. That was pretty scary the first
That'd be
time.
scary for
Hey
me.
man, public performance, that is a no joke fear for
Yeah,
lots of
so,
people.
a different type of scary situation.
Yeah. What about kind of the opposite of that? So like have there been any activities or things like that you thought you wanted to try but did not have the best of luck or didn't end up working out or just didn't kind of go the way you thought they would go? Chris looks like she's got a story.
No, I'm not sure. I'm thinking, I'm not sure I do. Um, the skiing is probably fills that one too. I wasn't sure I wanted to be a skier, but no, no, I don't have any bad stories, which I guess is good.
That is fantastic.
I've been trying, I picked up road cycling earlier this year again. I haven't cycled in a while as part of my triathlon stuff and did some Grand Fondos and stuff. And that went really well. So I've ridden 30 and 60 miles and had that poor bike up to like 36 miles an hour, which, you know, for some of
That's
those
moving.
other athletes, it's not that fast, but for me that was enough. And then I got cocky and bought a gravel bike, and my first time out I broke my ribs. So
Ooh.
Oh,
I'm dealing with broken ribs right now.
Oh my.
Because I fell off my gravel bike, but I'll get back on it and give it another go.
yeah. I mean, I had some of those road rash bicycle falls, but they had nothing to do with my vision. They had to do with being a cocky person going too fast around corners.
For me, I know a sport I tried, and again, getting back to family stuff, like a lot of my family is big into golf.
Ugh.
And I tried for years, and like putting, I'm fine with putting. I can generally see good enough to see the holes, but when you start off driving or in the fairway, once that ball is more than 5 or 10 feet away from me, it's vanished off the face of the earth. So it became not a very productive sport for me. It was, okay, I'm going to hit it, and then somebody tell me where to go find it so I can hit it again. So that turned out to be a sport that just was not my cup of tea.
I don't know, Nick. I'm not much of a use my vision for excuses, but I think I'd use my vision to not have to play golf.
Yeah.
Same.
Kind of a wild sport when you put it that way. Like I'm just gonna hit a ball and then we're gonna go play hide and seek with the ball.
That's exactly how I would describe playing golf with a visual impairment. Like,
Yes.
although we did play it at night once with glow balls, that felt like a much more fair field, right?
Oh,
That's
wow.
cool.
That
Now I
would be
can
Cool.
fun.
see.
That would be
Yeah.
cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Did they light up the holes too? Do you
Yep.
know
So
which
they
usually?
put some like glow sticks in the holes with some lights on the flags.
Oh,
One of the
that's
big
cool.
That'd be
things
really
is
fun.
the balls are kind of rubbery, so they're almost like a bouncy ball, which means they don't fly nearly as far. So like when you can normally drive like most par four holes, you can get to the green usually in 2 or 3 strokes. But these, it was like a par four turned into like a par 8 or 9. So,
Wow.
but that we played that one time. I was like, okay, I can get down with this. This is a much more even playing field here. All right. Well, I can see we're getting close to the end of time. I want to kind of hit this last one I had on my list because this I think is important for people that are interested in getting more active. But what advice do you guys have for anybody that's interested in either a sport that you currently participate in or an activity you participate in or just becoming more active in general? What advice do you have for anybody?
I think I just say that where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to find, that way, but there are ways for whatever you want to do.
When
I think
when I,
sometimes people are
go ahead.
really tied into thinking that like you have to run to be physically active or you have to do one type of thing. And I think it's really more important to find sustainable ways that make your body feel joy when you move it. Like the thing that is going to help you stay physically and mentally healthy is the thing that you're going to do. And if running is not the thing that you're going to do, don't try to force your body to do that thing. Like
Exactly.
you don't need to
Yeah.
do that thing. You can dance, you can go for a walk. I know that there's like um, the cozy workout vibe right now where like people are getting a walking pad and putting on candles and music and just walking and listening to music on a walking pad. If that's what makes you move your body and that's what feels good and makes your brain feel good, like that's the physical activity for you. It doesn't have to be high intensity to be good activity. It doesn't have to be running. It doesn't have to be high impact. It can be as simple as just like finding the thing that makes your body feel joy.
And I think one of the, going along with that, I think one of the things is, everybody thinks, oh, I have to run, and it's usually running. I don't know why, but to lose weight and everything. And because I run on the treadmill, and the treadmill sits here and said, oh, you've burned this many calories. I thought I just ran 6 miles, and that's not even 3 cookies. So,
Nope.
so, I mean, a lot of the health stuff comes into with eating well too. And in fact, in a lot of ways, that's better for you or equally as important as the actual physical activity.
Yeah.
So,
The
but yeah.
OT in me has to say, like, start slow. I see so many patients come in, they're like, oh, I've never lifted weights and I went to the gym and I lifted 100 pounds and now my shoulder's messed up. Can you fix it? So, I mean, don't jump, like, start slow, be smart, seek out a personal trainer, physical therapist, an OT, someone else, someone that can help if you're kind of not sure. Just so, and I would say that to anybody, whether you had vision issues or not. Um, and then I think Chris or Maria said it too, just find something that makes your heart happy. And if you can find people that you become friends with through doing it, it makes it even all the more better, or
Mhm.
something that gives you passion. So I had kind of been burnt out on running, and then I had to have my knee replaced, so that was kind of a bummer, but I got back into it this year after the surgery because my nephew's St. Jude kid, and Chris is going to come run St. Jude with us next year. It's a relay style. I did 10 miles this year. We're going to do more next year. So I did it because there were days I didn't want to get out and run. It'd been a long day at work. It was hot, whatever. But because I have the passion to help kids and help an organization that saved my nephew, like, I got up and did it. So if there's a way you can tie it to something you're passionate about, it can add motivation, like something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, I think having, I mean, accountability, and I think we talked about this, but to have some kind of goal and as far as having a reason bigger than yourself, I have not run much over the summer because of thyroid surgery and blah blah blah. But I will do the St. Jude Marathon weekend in December, come hell or high water. So that's my goal now. And I've got to get my act back together. And it made getting back to a training ritual more joyful because I knew I really want to do this. So yeah, that's really important, I think.
I'd like to say to just try and to modify whatever the um platform is. So when we start our dance class, we welcome anyone that's new, and we just say do what your body feels. If I'm on 1 2 and you're on 3 4, that's great. This is your class too. Like it, just do what your body feels and modify what you need, and I like what Maria said, just like look for joy. Like if something that you want to go back, oh, that was really fun, I want to do it again. That's the key, is like, oh, I want, because I'm not a runner. Like I will complain the whole time. So but I'm a dancer, and some people don't like dancing that much. So it's whatever brings you joy and that you want to do again. Um, that's my advice.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We got just a couple minutes left in the time slot. I wanted to open it up for questions from anybody. Got one here in the chat. Talking about what do you guys do to help manage pain, fatigue? How do you kind of rehab yourself after some of these events? What do you do
Mm-hmm.
to kind of stretch, get ready to do some of these activities? Kind of what's your guys' kind of getting your body ready to put in some work kinds of things?
So this is crazy. I would have never believed it, but when I started doing marathons and when I did the ultra, I swear by ice baths, it will be the worst like 3 minutes of your life getting into it. But like we would often before marathons, they were out of town, we'd stay in a hotel, and you could tell who the marathoners were the night after. They're carrying their ice buckets back to their room. And that it sounds crazy, but ice baths have helped so much. And I use a lot of like icy hot, deep blue. I should be better at stretching, do as I say, not as I do. And definitely start and kind of incrementally work up, because you just jump into any activity, you're like likely to get injured. So,
I've heard the phrase with respect to athletics, like you choose your hurt. You either choose to hurt from not being active and the hurt that your body has from like being sedentary, or you
Mm.
hurt from being physically active. And I feel like
really?
when I'm physically active, the pains that I have are at least like they're familiar. I know where they came from, and I feel a little bit sometimes more pride in that pain because like I'm sore because I lifted something heavy, or I'm sore because I ran really far, and I know that that sore is going to go away and I'm going to be stronger versus like when I'm sedentary for too long, things hurt and I don't feel good. And I want to go back to the sore that I get from lifting heavy things or running far distances because that's a more comfortable sore for me. I know that that sounds wild, but I think that like the more that you move and if you follow, I mean, there's so many good different plans, even if you can't access a personal trainer or anything like that. Like if you're looking to run, there's the couch to 5K plans that bring you up incrementally. And if you do a plan where you incrementally increase your fitness, you're going to be less likely to be injured. Not likely, but like you're less likely to be injured if you go that way, and incrementally improve.
I always tell my patients pain and soreness are different. So if you're sore, we can work through it. If you have pain, we need to stop, take a break, reach out to, that's as a therapist. But yeah, so I try to do that for myself. Like I had pain this summer when I broke my foot running, so I stopped, but I've definitely ran through soreness of strains and plantar fasciitis. And so you just have to learn the difference too for your body.
Football coach would say you play through hurt, but you do not play through injured. So,
There you
Yeah.
go.
Absolutely.
what about like getting help on ergonomics, so being more efficient in your sport and your body movements and things like that? Do you guys have any tips or advice on kind of how to improve like your movement, your way you're engaging in those sports.
Watching
But
videos of yourself can be really helpful because then you see your movement patterns and your motor patterns. And some physical therapists are specially trained. Running's what I know, but um, I have seen a physical therapist that helped me analyze my gait, and that was really helpful.
yeah, buy running shoes that fit if you want to keep your
Yeah.
Yeah.
toenails.
Yes. And good
Yes.
socks.
Yeah,
Good
and
shoes, good
then
socks.
yeah, if you're cycling, it's worth it to actually get a bike fitter. I've noticed a tremendous difference since I've had my bikes professionally fitted. It's huge.
Like doing, I'm not someone who really likes running with people all the time. I am a runner, but I have a group that I run with once a week. And I think that running with people occasionally helps me. So like even if you're a solo athlete and you like to do your sport by yourself, finding groups where you can do it with other people to get feedback from people or to push you to be better, or just to like find community around that activity that can help you find new ways to engage with that activity and that community can be helpful because like I know when I run with the group that I run with, I run faster than I usually do. And because I'm trying to keep up with them. And that helps me to be a faster runner. But then there's other times where people, when I need to run slower, I run with people who are slower than me and they're looking to me as someone who's an expert and a role model and better than them so that it kind of like works always. So I think finding a community around the sport that you like, even if you don't want to engage with people while you're being physically active all the time.
Awesome. All right. I'm being mindful of the time. We're technically 3 minutes over. Want to give anybody else that's got any last minute burning questions an opportunity to get those out before we hit stop on the record and thank everybody for coming. Looking in the chat, I don't see anything. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, I want to thank everybody for coming. I got a chance to see a bunch of you guys doing different presentations and things at NoahCon, so that was really great. That's how I knew who to reach out to. And thank you guys for coming. Audience members, thank you guys for throwing some good questions at us and kind of engaging in some conversation here. Um, I will say for anybody that's on the call, Noah's got these calls going multiple times a week, usually. So feel free to engage with as many as possible. There's some really cool different sessions that Noah's doing these calls on, and it's a great opportunity to stay connected with the organization and the wider community. And I won't speak for the rest of the panel, but if anybody's got questions about any sports or activities that I've talked about, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk about it. Some of the stuff I'm a certified instructor, some I've just learned the hard way. So, all right. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to go ahead and kill the recording right now.